I'm going to make this this digital statement, perfectly clear that people involved in the horse industry and all those from Tamworth and New England, since my mother moved there, so we had no friends and no family. That's why this is from Tamworth or New England. This is why this keeps going around in circles, because you people don't listen. But you haven't listened since my mother moved there in April 1989. And I've had little to do with you guys for 30 years. There was no issues when I lived there with you, but there's issues now in the last 11 years since 2015. The issues have come up since 2015 because you people don't listen, and I'm not going to put up with having the characteristics of Mark Rackley projected onto me, or his drug using son, Daniel Rackley. Amanda Lee Fleming is my twin sister's name. Her maiden name's Fleming. My name is Justin Mark Fleming. Dad is Mark Ian Fleming. His father is Stanley Fleming. That's right, Stanley Fleming is not born in Australia. I'm not going to give this too much more details, but you guys might want to stop listening to my mother. Everybody might want to stop listening to my mother, because she just lies to you people. She just lies. Amanda Lee Fleming and myself, Justin Mark Fleming, we grew up riding equestrian horses. We grew up in pony clubs, nationals, royals, agricultural shows in Sydney, coastal, New England, Brisbane, Canberra, Wellington, New South Wales. But we had a horse stud in Sydney to begin with. We owned land in Sydney. Mum moved. Mum moved in April 1989. She moved. Now, she just remarried in 1988 to a deadbeat nurse, a deadbeat drug-using loser of a man. Her first husband's mine and Amanda's father. Mark Fleming is her first husband. He has no mental health issues. He has no drug and alcohol issues. He has no violence issues. Mark Fleming is our father. He has no issues at all, except for the bullshit stories my mother tells people, which is a complete lie about our father and our father's family. And she tells people this because she's never dealt with the fact that my father divorced her. My father looked at the train wreck that is my mother. My mother's a lying, disgusting piece of shit. My mother has major issues, and the women in my mother's family have major issues. They have drug issues, they've got alcohol issues, which is why Mum went with someone that was like-minded to herself, Mark Rackley. Mark Rackley is like-minded to Carol's deadbeat nature. Carol, my deadbeat mother, made all her money from her first husband. Okay, my mother was a paralegal, that's correct. But her husband was a builder. And she got everything in the divorce. And I mean everything. Back in those days, it wasn't 50-50. Back in those days, you could pretty much take 90% of the man's, like, everything, assets and belongings. My dad walked away with nothing and had to rebuild himself. My father's a lovely man. He's just grumpy in his old age because he's had a lot of health problems. But Mark Fleming's really lovely. I was always close to my father, Mark Fleming. I had my dad in my life growing up. We were always extremely close until my ex-partner, Giovanni Craig Consalvo, caused an argument between us in 2012. Giovanni Craig Consalvo is a manipulative little cunt like my mother. They're both two peas in a pod. My ex-partner, Gio, and my mother are the two meddling troublemakers since 2009, both of them. Now, my mother's poisoned my twin sister Amanda's mind about the Flemings, so my twin sister has no idea who she's related to. All my twin sister does is everything Carol tells her to do. She has no personality at all. Her whole life, if you ask me, so what's Amanda like? I'm like, oh, Carol. I don't know. Amanda doesn't have a personality. It's Carol. She's been kept in a controlled environment her entire life, under a bubble, fed bullshit by her mother. So she has to live down the road from where my mother lives. She has to do the sports that my mother does. Her whole interest has to be everything to do with my mother. She can't think for herself. She can't have any personality that's her own. Every single thing she does, we're completely different. I've actually got my own personality, my own interest, I actually played soccer growing up. Okay? My own, involved in theatre, involved in modelling, involved in arts and so forth. Everything that was completely opposite to my mother. Okay, it was creative. My twin sister is exactly my mother. That's all she is my mother. So her personality is my mother's personality. Okay, her interests, her sports, where she lives, everything that she does, including the disgusting food she cooks, is my mother. Everything is my mother. And I'll tell you now, the women have serious issues. Now, they lie about men a lot, quite a lot, because they've realized the tactic that in Australia, they can get whatever they want by lying about men. Like my mother, she can get she got everything on my father's because my father divorced her, so my mother went hell for leather and got everything. House, land, assets, belongings, money. She basically bled my poor father, Mark Fleming, dry, where he had to completely build his life again. So my dad built his life again because his first wife, my mother, bled him dry and didn't stop. Now, she knows by lying about men, she can bleed them dry and to get whatever she wants. So where does the money go? Carol's interest. I mean, she was a paralegal, but paralegal's wage is not going to cover the expensive horses. Ask Christy Child's mum's deadbeat neat. Well, sorry, Christy, but you are. Mum's sister, Robin Child's. Ask Robin Childs. Ask Robin Childs what she witnessed mum do to my dad. Because mum's the abuser. So my mum was the abuser, not the victim. My mum's the domestic violence abuser. My dad's has no domestic violence issues at all. So my mum used to abuse her husband. And my dad wouldn't fight back because it's a female. Okay? Ask my mum's sister, Robin Childs, about the domestic violence abuse that my mother, Carol Purdy, did to her first husband. Now, as I'll say again, this Stephanie DeSalis, because she wrote a poem about my mother because Stephanie DeSalis was obsessed with me. She's not a friend, she's a stalker with delusional fantasies. I still can't believe police didn't arrest her. So they've all jumped onto the fact that Mark Rackley, Carol's second husband, has domestic violence issues. Okay, he's been charged for domestic violence issues, so is his son, Daniel Rackley. However, I witnessed my mum treat Mark Rackley the same way as she treated my dad. And Mark Rackley fought back. So, is the legal system unjust there? Okay, Mark Rackley has issues. I'm not going to stick up for Mark Rackley. He's my ex-stepfather. Mark Rackley has drug issues, alcoholism, mental health issues. And he's a bigger man than my dad. My dad was a tiny frame, very thin man. But would Mark Rackley have fought back if Carol wasn't a torturing person? She tortures men. Like if my mum didn't abuse Mark Rackley, would he have fought back? Would there have ever been a domestic violence issue to do with Mark Rackley and Carol Purdy? There may not have ever been one. But so if police had charged my mother for abusing Mark Rackley, or better yet, get her early on when she was abusing her first husband. So when my mother was disgustingly abusing my father, I'm talking, ask Robin Childs when my mother tipped a hot coffee down my father's ear and scolded him because he fell asleep on the sofa. She's very disgusting what she does to men. My mother is disgusting. She's vile. And she smirks about it. She's a disgusting piece of shit who smirks about the abuse she does to men, and she can get away with it because police don't arrest her. She knows as a female, nothing will happen to her. And she's known this her entire life. I ask Robin Childs, her sister, to do a statement about what she witnessed my mother do to my father. Now, my mother then did that to Mark Rackley. Now, you would not have me stand up for Mark Rackley because he was an arsehole. Yeah, but would Mark Rackley have all these issues if he wasn't getting abused by his wife? Like, my mother was abusing him. And then screamed, victim! Victim, look what Mark Rackley did to me. And then she not just screamed victim, she made a show of it. It's this, like she would go in public and show off what she has. And I'm like, oh my God, growing up, I'm like, get me out of this household. Get me the fuck out of it. I couldn't wait. I couldn't wait to run back home to Sydney. It's like, this is insane. It was the House of Horrors. We call Mum's house the House of Horrors. Man, it was insane. You've got Mum, like carrying on, like you'll be like, oh my God, is she going to stop? Like browbeating Mark Rackley. continuously. Then he would fight back. Then she'd be like, oh, look at me, look. And everyone's like, oh, poor Carol, oh, poor Carol. No, not poor Carol, the same as not poor Giovanni. Giovanni Consalvo is exactly my mother. I dated my mother with him. Giovanni Consalvo is a disgusting man. I can't stand him. And he knew how to use this, same as my mother. So back to the only time myself and my father, Mark Fleming, had ever stopped talking, 2012. My ex-partner, who had all this information that my mother gave her, okay, wrote my dad and my dad's side a letter. So, okay, and he was, okay, in his defense, he thought he was doing the right thing. So the information, he thought he was getting truthful information from my mother. He wrote, and I never read this statement, and I tell you what, Dad was being a dick at that time. My dad's only issues is the fact that he's mean with money and is a Jew. Okay? And we were at the holiday house, and there's a long sort of story going on. I'm not going to get into it. But he thought he was doing the right thing and said, oh, well, growing up, Mark, to Dad, this is what you were like, blah, 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 and sent it to. So he asked, and I said, yeah, because he goes, I want to send a letter to your dad and your cousins about this whole issue. I said, yeah, that's fine. So I didn't read it. He sent it to Dad. He sent it to the Johnson side. So Shane read it, so Dad's sisters, children, and so forth. Next minute, and Dad's not talking to me. I'm like, I still have never read this letter. Christy Cerruti, my cousin, so Dad's other sister, Aunt Linda, her daughter, they've all read it. And they're like, I'm like, okay, guys, why are you all getting involved? Giovanni thought he was doing the right thing and he wrote a letter to Dad. End of story. That's been done. That was 2012. Move on. You're the biggest fucking dickheads on Dad's side that keep going, let it go and move on, you fuckwits. Let it go and move on. I haven't even read the letter. I'm not going to bother reading the letter. If Giovanni wanted to voice his opinion, fine. He probably got most of it from Mum. Some of it's probably been elaborated because of Mum's issues with Dad because Dad divorced her, which is Mum's bitchiness. I've seen it my entire life. Some of it's probably true. And if Dad found offensive to it, then then it's probably true, Dad. But the letter there's also stuff there because I know, but hang on, what, Mum filled your head like she filled Sam Delati's head back in 2002 with rubbish. I'm sitting there going, oh, knock it off, Mum. That's none of it. I'll be looking at them, none of that's true. She just has issues because Dad divorced her. Basically, my dad was a very good-looking man, a very talented builder with a lot of money, and he looked at my mother and thought, fuck, I can do so much better, and did do so much better. And that's the only issue, is that he upgraded, and my mother downgraded to more her like level. So my mother could never get to level my father again because that's not who she is as a person. She's a deadbeat. So she went with Mark Rackley and then went with Dave and so forth. Okay, so my mum tells people bullshit. And those are the facts. Now, when Mum moved to Tamworth in April 1989, it was the week of our 10th birthday. The last school date we had at Ruddy Hill, at St. Aidan's Roman Catholic School in Ruddy Hill, was the 23rd of March in 1989. When she moved there, she just remarried to Mark Rackley. You guys kept saying Justin Rackley or Amanda Rackley, and we kept telling you, don't call us Rackley, our surname's Fleming. Mum's got a different surname. Now, I think, that should have been clarified and resolved in 1989. So if you were decent people, in 1989, you would have stopped calling us Rackley by then, because every weekend we're at a horse event or we're somewhere and it'd be like, don't call us Rackley, our surnames are Rackley. You continued it. And then the next year, the same thing. We'll be going in a competition and next minute it'll be like, you would call out Rackley, and I'll go back to the marshalling yard and go to the ticket box and so forth for the broad, and I'd be like, my surname's Fleming. And you would not stop doing this behaviour. And then you kept it going. Even though you were told our surname's Fleming. Mark Fleming's our father. Our father's a builder, not Mark Rackley. You were told. Then Daniel Rackley, Mark Rackley's son from his first marriage, moved to Tamworth. You all called him Rackley. Daniel has drug issues, alcoholism, all these types of issues, and he was running around Tamworth causing so many problems, and he affiliated with a Freemason nursing home called Moonby House, the same area that his father did, and you combined myself, Justin Mark Fleming, and Daniel Rackley as the one person. Now, you people from Katingal and Moonbi Pony Club was told this back around, when was Tamworth show on? The date, March? March in 1996, you were told this. Because I was living in Sydney, back home in Sydney. I was like technically living at Dad's at Hillcrest Road, Empire Bay. And you were like, oh, so you had this wild night at, and this is what was getting said. I'm like, oh, no, I don't live here. Like, literally, I'm there going to you, I don't live here. Like, you know, it wasn't me. Oh, sure it wasn't you. Sure it wasn't you. I'm like, I don't fucking live here. I've just come up for the horse show. So you were combining as far back as 1996, Daniel Rackley and myself as the one person. Now, this is over 36 years of damages. I want to see Tamworth in court. I'm not going to back down from this because you were told. It was your choice to run with false information and be a smart ass and not correct it. It was your choice to not listen when Mark Rackley's son from his first marriage in South Australia lived in Tamworth from 1995, around that time onwards. And then when in 1996, you are combining us as the one person. Therefore, you have defamed me for this long. That's causing me discredit. It's destroying my character and reputation. Then you continue to do that since 2015 because my mum's up to a little suicide scam, is she? Or mentally retarded scam or some other scam. Okay. Daniel Rackley's social media is Daniel Rackley's social media. I shared that with Amy Thompson and Brie Pascoe, his new partner, the deadbeat. What is she? No. Police officer. She's a police officer. And again, you thought that was me. You thought those photos were me. You thought that guy with all those little girls was me. Yeah, okay, that's Daniel Rackley and his daughters. And yes, his daughters do look like Faith Rackley because the Rackleys look alike. You thought that the Facebook posts of suicidal was me when it's Daniel Rackley. Okay, that is Daniel Rackley's social media. I've had mental health workers harass me over it in 2017. When it was Daniel, I had to stand there and continue to say, that's Daniel Rackley. That's Rackley. Oh, you. I'm not Rackley. Are you insane? I'm not fucking Rackley. That is Daniel Rackley's post. February 2017, when you're doing a welfare check and knocking on my goddamn fucking door because there was a gun on social media and it said, forgive me, Lord, but it's time. That does not belong to me. I told the crisis group and acute care back then, you're a fucking insane loser. That is Mark Rackley's son, Daniel Rackley. I'm not fucking Rackley. The same as the bullshit post that was on, November 2015, where it said, I wrote this song to catch the last moments of suicide, and I had every fucking deadbeat loser at my doorstep. That post was Daniel Rackley's. So Johnny Totaro and Stephanie DeSalis and all you other fuckwits even in Sydney, again, that post is Daniel Rackley. Daniel Rackley is Mark Rackley's son from his first fucking marriage. Yes, he lived in Tamworth as well. End of fucking story. You arseholes caused the trouble in my life in the last 11 years now in 2 countries, and I lost my immigration because of it. You dumb cunts of government workers, mental health fucking workers are losers. That's there. I've got the notes where I'm like, that's Daniel Rackley. You were told this. You were told those posts belong to Daniel Rackley. You lot can pay for the fucking damage you've caused me. Start listening to what I'm saying because my mother's obviously done another fucking scam. Especially when she came to Sydney and didn't tell anybody the truth. Okay, but then you're that easy. I would never believe someone's mother. I would believe their father. I would speak to a man over a female. Women are worth half a testimony of a man. And that's because learned behaviour. I've just watched women my entire life stand there and completely lie. Not one bit of truth come out of their mouth and they're bleeped. So if someone's mother came up to me and said, oh, but yes, this, and this, I'd be like, oh, whatever, you're a female, you fucking lie. There's not one thing out of your mouth that's truthful. You can't tell the truth, you're a female. It's that goddamn simple, is that you don't tell the truth. Everything out of your mouth's a complete lie. I know from my own mother. So you can't tell the truth. So I'll talk to the guy's father, I'll talk to a man, thanks. I won't talk to a female, because you can't tell the truth. And it's even as far back as the Bible. It's there with Adam and Eve. You can't tell the truth. It's been documented throughout history for thousands of years that women do not tell the truth. And I've seen that with my own mother, and I've grown up like that, where I'll sit there and be like, okay, you can keep talking all you want, but when this conversation's finished, I'll go speak to a man, thank you, and get the truth.